as we all know that one of the things we do at Strictly Law Business is also, we don't just talk about the business of law. So this is not just our only form of expression of about the business of law. So we have the Strictly Law Business Academy, where we equip lawyers with the business strategies and business tools. We have courses. I think we should project it. OC, please, can we project it? So we have the basic law business management module, and in that module, it's a six module course. Okay, it's called the basic law business management course, and it's a 6 module course. We have the course on personal branding for lawyers. We have storytelling for legal marketing. So we teach you how you can use stories to market your services. We are aware that the RPC does not allow us to do outright marketing, but we can do inbound marketing, and one of the very tools we can use for that is storytelling. So we teach you that, and then we also have sales mastery for legal practice, and as well as financial accounting. So we have experts that take these courses, these modules. We have business development. We have pricing strategies, because pricing, also billing, is also another challenge we encounter as professionals. So these are some of the modules we have at the academy. And our academy was launched July last year, and about 17 students have graduated. And one of the conditions for which those who would receive their certificates today is because we have seen them implement the things that they were taught. So we pride ourselves very well in execution. Nobody's hanging around us and is not executing or implementing. And because of that, I had made it mandatory that before you get your certificate, you must have done something, and we must be able to see what you have done so far. And we have quite a number of them who have distinguished themselves. I'd like to very quickly talk about one of our, I would call her like the most outstanding alumni. She attended this conference in January last year from Asaba. And then she also participated in our academy in July from Asaba, and has attended several other in-house trainings we do, because even at the level of the community, we do trainings, regularly, particularly as the need arises. So we've had trainings on investment in capital markets. We brought in an expert to teach us on a Sunday, so we make it flexible to accommodate everyone's schedule. And then we also have, we've also had trainings on tech and business of law. That's 1.0. 2.0 will be coming up this year, and you can sign up for it. And so Uche has gone on to distinguish herself, and by executing and implementing the things she learned here, she has also gone on to establish her own platform. So I like to say that we can't have only one Busola Jala. We should have as many people as possible doing something to change the narrative within our legal industry. And so Uche has gone on to do something. This is Uche in January last year, when she was asking questions, and she got a mini consultation from one of the business executives that was on the panel session. And after that, she's gone on to do several things. So this was last year's session while she was asking questions, and you can see the panelists, answering her. And she's gone on to do, please, can you move it forward? And she's gone on to do some amazing things in Asaba, where she resides. So this is Uche facilitating her own program for SMEs in Asaba. She had 25 people in attendance in November 2019, and it was a paid program, so it wasn't a free program like this. So she got value, as well as delivered value to people who attended. So what we are trying to emphasize is that when you come to our academy, you're not just coming to learn what to do. We teach you what to do, how to do it, and why you should do it. And what next also, because it's not enough for you to know the what, why, and how. What next also, what you need to do. So Uche has been able to distinguish herself very well in that regard. She flies into Lagos every now and then, like Lagos is her backyard. So to join me in making this presentation, we will call one of our very, very supporters and partners for this conference. We have the law firm of Simon Cooper and the managing partner, Mr. Dakbo Akinyoshu, will be presenting the certificate to our graduates. Please welcome Mr. Dapo Akinyoshu. And I must say that I've enjoyed personally, apart from SLB, personally I've enjoyed a lot of support and encouragement from Mr. Dapo Akinyoshu. Thank you very much, sir. So I'd like to encourage every one of us, check our website. You'll see the details about the next module. We'll be having it sometimes in April. We'll make announcements. We'll send emails to you people. And we're doing everything possible to ensure that we expand our curriculum this year and make it richer and better so that we get more value from the trainings. And one of the things we are big on in SLB Academy, or SLB as a whole, is value. So we constantly go out of our way to ensure that our community members get value. And I would also want to encourage every one of us to be continuous learner. Learning never ends. So I would encourage and invite every one of us to come for the academy in April. If you attended this conference, then you definitely get a discount. But I'm sure you know that we are not cheap. Thank you.
Thank you, Baba. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll move straight into our next panel session. And so I'll just quickly call all the panelists. The next panel session is tagged Engaging for More, Leveraging Visibility and Networking. Engaging for More, Leveraging Visibility and Networking. And the first panelist is a visibility and networking expert. Hello, sir. A round of applause for her. Right here. Thank you. And moderating this session is a friend of mine, a big sister actually. She's an associate at a senior associate at Templars, and she's the chairman, NBA section of Business Law, Young Lawyers Forum. Please welcome Oyeyemi Aderibigbe. If there's anybody we need to listen to on networking with senior lawyers, I think Oyeyemi has done a perfect job at that. And I'm sure moderating this session, she would give us some hints as to how she has gotten her way or made her way to the hearts of these many senior lawyers. So once again, rules of the engagement. If you have any question, you can write it down. We're only going to take 2 questions. First question, as usual, a lady. Second question, a gentleman. And the mics at this end are available for you. But if you have a question whilst they are speaking, you can quickly write it down and we'll pass it to this usher, this gentleman here. He will hand it to me. And if the question is what is, we'll be able to share. Thank you. Over now to Oyeyemi.
Thank you very much, Amor. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols that have been observed, I now duly observe them again. It's a privilege to sit amongst very distinguished guests, and more importantly, this distinguished panel of visibility experts and experts on networking. Now, you would agree with me that the world in which we live today as lawyers or members of the legal services community has changed. And that means we need to change our strategy as well. So I am hoping that in this panel, we will do 3 things. 1, give you better understanding of your audience. 2, show you how you can create value and engage that audience effectively. And 3, give you your own personal branding strategy. And I think by the time we've done that, that would be a good job. So can you please clap for us in advance? Thank you. I would remind you of the theme. We're speaking about engaging for more, leveraging networking, and visibility. Now, most of us are coming from, I think I'll start with you, Ma. Most of us are coming from a world where the first stage when we started learning and becoming aware of our environment was go to school, get a job, do your job very well, and everything will come to you. Now we live in a world where we are told we need to go for it. We need to push yourself out there. We need to. And then we get there, we're trying. We don't even understand who the audience is, who is listening to us. Before, it was just our law firm, right? So now, from a brand building perspective, who is the audience of the lawyer?
Yes, it's very clear. So the question again is, who is the audience of the lawyer? Now, good morning once again. My name is Atinuke Babatunde, and I say it because I'm going somewhere. For the record, these questions they're asking, they did not ask us before now. So they are fresh questions. But you see, where she has started from is a very important one. And like she said, in the past, it was about just doing your work, go be at the back end, do your work, get your salary. You didn't need to do more than do what you wanted to. And then the customers will come to you. But we live in a world now where your competition is a phone click away. You know, your competition is, I don't like you, let me Google a hashtag. And they will get the very next person. So the audience of the lawyer is not just the people that come to them with cases or issues or I want you to help me with this or that. The audience of the lawyer is actually everyone. Because now there are things that no matter the kind of business you're doing, you would need a lawyer. So you are even in a very good profession. You're not an endangered species. You know, there are some professions that, with time, if you're not careful, it can be automated. But with the legal profession, it's something that will always need. So your audiences are not just people that come to you. Your audiences are out there, and you need to learn how to network, build visibility in order for those audiences to see you. I'm sure you have other questions, because I could go on and on and on about branding, but let me wait.
Thank you very much. Please, could you put your hands together for her? All right. So I would tweak the question just a little bit, Glory. And Glory is well known across the world for being a networking expert. And I will speak from the perspective of the young lawyer who is probably mid-level or even just starting their career. When we hear networking, we don't know what to do. We're thrown into social events, conferences, even the, hi, I'm Yemi. We find it difficult to say. Our voices will be shaking. Sometimes we will try to get American accents to cover it up, like, all those kind of things. And we just come up fake. We come off unauthentic because we don't know. So I'd like you to, now we know our audience is the people at work and generally the entire world, right? The next step is preliminary tips on engaging that audience. From the young lawyer, mid-lawyer, inexperienced lawyer's perspective, how can I even start networking?
Okay. Hello, everybody. I don't know. Is it still morning or is it 12?
It's now afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to be here. So I'll start by answering the first question you asked, and then now answering your question. So when it comes to identifying your audience, I always tell people, whose problem do you solve? I think that's the very first thing you have to be clear about. And to be clear about that, you need to know your value. So you are a lawyer. What type of law do you practice? What is your experience? Who needs that experience? That is your audience, right? So you start from a big pool. What I find is that a lot of people don't niche down. And so you are talking to everybody and anybody. And the truth is, everybody and anybody is not interested in what you have to say all the time. So you have to understand who all this my expertise, what I went to school for, working, all the things I know, who needs it the most? Then start with those people. Now, when it comes to networking, my advice to people is go where the people who have achieved the things you want to achieve go. That's the very first thing I tell people. So, for example, say to yourself, okay, I'm a lawyer. What do I want to be doing in my career in the next 3 years, for example, right? And this is in terms of professional growth. I'll get to, I'll talk about sales in a bit. What do I want to achieve in the next 3 years? Who has already achieved these things? Where do they go? So that's the place that you start going to. And then when it comes to introducing yourself, I think that a lot of times, one of the most important, not important, but the funniest questions I get is, how do I be memorable? And I think we are so fixated in being memorable, we don't understand that the most important thing is to provide value, right? Stop thinking about me. And the same thing when you are even doing presentations. You are talking to people who have a need. So how do you fulfill that need? How do you speak in a language that automatically gets them to say, oh, this person has expertise in the problem I'm trying to solve? That should be your go-to point. Not trying to be memorable, but trying to show whoever you are speaking to that you understand their problems and you have the expertise to solve it. And so that takes the pressure of trying to perform. It takes the pressure of trying to be an American. It takes the pressure of trying to, sound sophisticated. I just got back and all of that. Because now it's about the person, not necessarily about you. It's about the value you can offer to the person. Now, when it comes to sales, when you think about who my audience is, whose problem can I solve? Who do I have the expertise to help? Who will pay me for this expertise? You go where those people go. So, for example, even though I'm a visibility and networking expert, my key audience is career women, but not just any career women, right? Or any career woman. It's women who have at least 10 years of experience. And how did I find that out? I found out that the people that come to me that when we are talking about issues and I'm giving them solutions, I found out those women, they fall within a certain bracket. They've been working for a while. They're established. They have sector-specific experience. They have a voice. They have something to say. And so I started saying that these are the people that I can really help, right? So I go where they go. I go to WIMBIZ. I go for women events. I go for anywhere where they have established career professionals. You will find me there, especially if they are female. And I begin to talk. When I'm talking with them, I know how I introduce myself, right? So I introduce myself primarily talking of the problem I solve. So usually I say, I help career women who are trying to get recognized, become visible in their fields. Before I used to introduce myself as, I'm a career coach. And they were like, interesting, nice to meet you. But then I'm not talking about the problem I'm solving, right? So I say, hello, I help career women like you get visible in the workplace so you can climb the career ladder, get recognized and get promoted. Instantly, I have people who ask me questions. But what if I'm an introvert, I don't like being out there. And you start having an engaging conversation. So I guess if I'm going to summarize, right? The first thing is understand your value. Who do you help? Who has a problem that you have the expertise to solve? Go where they go and introduce yourself in a way that automatically shows them that you have the expertise to solve their problem.
Thank you very much, Glory. That was a lot to unpack, but I would help us understand it a little. So she said, don't try to be memorable, try to be desirable, like ice cream. Anyways, Kaede, so you are the maestro on online, digital, and all of these artificial intelligence kind of things that half of the world does not understand. And we just praise ourselves when we achieve a Facebook account or an Instagram post or something like a LinkedIn we praise ourselves in those little things. Now, a lot of us do a lot, right? Our law firms are doing a lot. Individually, a lot of us are lost. We post what our law firms post. We share content. We go to conferences. Half of the time, on Facebook, I am delighted to be in this conference. I am delighted, LinkedIn, I am delighted to be, and then 2 people will like it, 3 people will like it, but it's not it's taking a lot of our time, but it's not transmitting value to us. Now, our theme is engaging for more, right? So how do I create a digital footprint that can draw value to me? What are because I know that you're not just an executor, you're a strategist. So you understand the thinking. So can you share with us? Thank you.
So, first of all, okay. So first of all, let me ask, where have you been reading about me? All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Okay. All right. So about creating a digital footprint that can draw value to us, I think we need to, before we get started, we need to think. There is this. I don't know if any. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, better. All right. So how many of us here has heard of design thinking before? 1, 2, 3, 4. Design thinking. Design thinking. Have you heard of design thinking before? Okay. Very, very few people. All right. So I like to use design thinking, because now what design thinking helps us do is that you think from the perspective of the end user, right? So design thinking is a product development system that product developers use to think from the end user's perspective. So the apps you use, the products you use, the people that develop them with you in mind. So that thinking was there before they started building that product. So that's the same way that I advise people to approach creating a footprint for yourself. So you first have to think about, like, what kind of impression do you want people to have about you, right? Now, how do people, so when it comes to networking, like what kind of person, do people want to meet, right? So now, I always tell people that the most, your asset right now is the number of people who trust you, who know you, and who understand exactly what you do. That's your asset, basically. So if you're creating a footprint, you have to have those things in mind. So you have to make sure that people know you, not just knowing you alone. They need to know what you do. What exactly is it that you offer? What services do you provide? Who do you help? Who do you serve? What niche are you a leader in? Right? Then they need to, respect you. They need to know that, you're a credible, source of information. You're an expert at what you do. Then, they have to trust that you know your onion. If they know that you have their back. That you can deliver when you say you will deliver. So all these things are very, very important. When you're creating your footprint, you have to be able to, have those things in mind. And when it comes, because, it's not just about having connections on LinkedIn. It's not just about having followers. It's not just about having likes. But the only way to have those things translate into value is, to make sure that you are building, around these 5 elements that I mentioned. You understand? You need to make sure that they know you, they trust you, they respect you, and they know that you are credible. So that's just the basics. So if you have those things, then you can build, your footprint around it, and then everything you do will translate into value. Am I making sense? Okay, thank you.
Please, let's put our hands together for him. All right, your specialty is personal branding as well as organizational branding. Now, I want you to imagine And I want us all to imagine that we have called her in as a consultant to speak to each and every one of us on how we can build our personal brand. Please take us away, Ma.
All right. So I'm going to answer this question, and I'm going to also try and answer the question she asked him about building a footprint. And I'm going to be very fast, and I'm going to tell you a story. So the reason why I mentioned my name is if you had clicked my name online 2 years ago, the only thing that would have come up about me was my LinkedIn profile. I had a good LinkedIn profile. I've been working for over 15 years in different organizations. And so when you go into my LinkedIn, you will see my title and my organization. But 2 years ago, in 2017, towards the end of 2017, I went for a meeting. Not a meeting, I went for a training in Lagos Business School. And at the end of the training, they were taking pictures like this, and I went to the guy that was taking the picture, and I said, please, let me give you my number so that you can WhatsApp me the pictures. And he said, you know what, just give me your Instagram handle, I'll tag you. I didn't have an Instagram account, so I was like, tag, which one is tag again? So the guy said it and walked away, and I was confused. This was in June. In November of that same 2017, I went for a women's conference. The same thing happened. Don't worry, give us your Instagram account, we'll tag you. I still didn't have an Instagram account. So I went home and I said, you know what? This Instagram they are talking about, let me go inside and see what's happening. And so I opened a personal Instagram account in September 2017. Now I opened the account, I saw, slayers, pictures. I was like, I don't have energy for this. I cannot cope, there's no way. So after building my account to 300 followers, you know how long it takes to get 100 followers? Suddenly it was 300. It grew to 300 followers. I just couldn't cope, so I deleted it. I didn't know you could convert an account to another name and do something else. But you see, I had been on Instagram long enough to see there was a great potential. To build a personal brand, you need to ask yourself, Glory says something about who your target audiences are. Who do you want to speak to? I had been on Instagram long enough to see that there was a certain kind of people I wanted to speak to. I knew that I had an expertise in branding and, things around marketing. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to create a handle that talks about branding and marketing. So I'm telling you now, the other consultant that spoke at the last panel said something about building yourself. So she said something about you go for conferences, you picked, glad to be at this conference. Think about how you as an individual, what is that thing you know how to do? Every one of us here has something we know how to do. Think of, how can I showcase this thing? And that goes to what he said about building a footprint. The moment you click on that thing, one of the first things you build. Hello? Okay. One of the first things of building a strong personal brand is to specialize. You cannot build a strong personal brand by being a generalist. Think of every strong personal brand you know. Think of anyone. There's something you know them for. And so the first thing about building a strong personal brand, you have to specialize. This story I'm telling you in 2017, I had never had a Facebook account. I've never had till now. The only reason why I'm connected to Facebook now is because for Instagram business, you have to link it to your Facebook account. I came in 2017 to know someone that had no social presence. I knew nothing about Facebook, nothing about Instagram, nothing about Twitter, but I had seen on Instagram that there was a market for me there. So in order to segment your audience, you need to know where your target customers are and you be there. So I knew my audiences were on Instagram. I'm not active on Facebook. You won't even see me on Facebook. I'm not active on Twitter, but on Instagram, I'm active every day. And in order to build a strong personal brand, you specialize one, then you become a leader in that thing you choose to specialize in. You have to be very good at it. And the moment you're good at it, people begin to see you like what he said. They begin to know you. They begin to trust you. How did they find me for this conference? It was on Instagram. I've never met the conveyor in my life. One phone call from my Instagram profile, we spoke. It felt like a good fit. I'm here. I've spoken in different conferences, all from Instagram. And you can do the same for yourself by specializing, become a leader in what you choose to specialize in. Focus. Focus. I can't overemphasize it because you see, the truth is there's so many distractions. So today your friend is doing this. You say, it seems this is where they are blowing now. Let me try. But you know what has happened is the 10 days or 10 months or 1 year you've used in building what you were doing before, you leave it and you go and start something else. So people are confused. Today they come, you are talking about this one. Tomorrow if you come to my page, the only thing I talk about is branding and marketing. So unconsciously, I'm building in your minds or whoever comes to my page that is the expert I am in. So in building a strong personal brand for yourself, please think about it. Don't just see the way the world is going now. Your customers are no longer going to come to you. You have to go to them, even as lawyers. You do maritime law, you do legal, I don't know the terms you could use, but whatever it is, start a conversation. You can choose to be active on LinkedIn. Yours might be Instagram. Yours might be Facebook. Whatever it is, begin to just be dropping. And that was how I started. 2017, I started. I was just dropping tips. You know, this is branding, this is marketing, this is branding. Today, I have 25,000 followers. Never had a Facebook account. Never had an Instagram account. Nothing. But I positioned myself. So you have to position yourself. You have to be a leader. You have to focus. You have to be visible. You have to be visible. And that's why what Gloria was talking about, networking. You have to be visible. Because if people don't know you, they don't buy from you. And people buy from people. They don't buy from businesses. They buy from people. So it's either they know somebody or they know, and the only way they can do that is if they know you. Thank you, I think.
Thank you very much. I think it was very insightful. So I would ask one final question, and I believe that this is where a lot of us struggle. So we have our organizations who have their strategy, how they're projecting themselves. You see lawyers moving because they think one law firm is doing better than the other and all of that. Now, if I am building a personal brand, how can I ensure that there is no conflict? Because I believe it's a very important thing that you're not messaging in a way that conflicts with the person that is paying your salary or a person that is of significant relevance to your career. So how do we balance that to ensure that and if there is a conflict, just in case, maybe they are too slow for us, too fast for us, how do you ensure that you're not doing the wrong thing by your employer? That's one. The second thing is, a lot of us don't yet appreciate the value that is present. So can you tell us the opportunities? What can we do? Okay, you mentioned giving tips. You mentioned going to the places that are central to you. You mentioned being trusted. But trust comes with some time. So how do I do that? I hope my question is clear.
So I'm from the school of thought that says that if you're working with someone, if you have an employer, right, the way you put yourself out there, should not conflict with, what your employers. You can't hear me? Okay. No, I think. Can you hear me? All right. So I'm from the school of thought that you should not have.
Sorry, sir. Maybe what they want is for you to put the mic in your mouth properly. Because many of us in Africa, we
right.
Thank you,
so,
sir.
I'm from the school of thought where, I believe that you shouldn't, have what you're doing online or offline should not conflict with, where you work, right? And there's this thing about, so if you're online, anything you're putting out there should in a way promote what you do, and part of what you do is where you work too. And there's something called employee advocacy, right? So online, for example, if you've noticed, if you are managing, if for some of us that manage our company's social media handles and all that, so if you're posting with your company's social media pages, you notice that you don't have enough reach. You might not even get likes or any. Nobody will see those posts. So the thing why that happens is because most of these platforms want you to pay to play. So they want you to spend money to advertise. So the best way around this is for employees to push their organizations with their own, accounts or with their own brands. Because in a way, if, for example, where you work also says a lot about you as a person. So the values of that organization you work with rubs off on you too. Are we together? So the values of where you work rubs off on you. So if you are networking with people, 3 things matter if you want to network with anybody. Values matter, intentions matter, then time matters as well. So values is, part of, what you do. Where do you work? Do you work with a reputable, firm? Or you are just a one-man charge and bail lawyer? You understand? So those things work. Then intentions too. Why are you trying to network with people? Do you want to just, you want them to patronize you immediately? Why do you want to network with whoever you want to network with? So intentions matter. So then time also matters. There are some people that network because, they need a job urgently. And people network also because they want to get, business from that person. So you have to know that, you have to know the time, when you're networking, you have to know that when you meet someone first, you don't go straight to, ask for whatever it is you want them to do. You have to first give value first before you receive anything. So, if you anything you're doing, online, whether you're trying to build your personal brand, it's always good, that you also, in a way, put, that face as a good representative of where you work. Employer advocacy is very, very important, and it works. One of the best organizations, the best organizations in the world, you can tell by from their employees, the way they speak about where they work. Like if you've seen anybody that works with Google, for example, they are always, happy about, like they are proud to tell you any time of the day that I work with Google, I'm a Googler, those things matter a lot.
Thank you very much, Chloe. Thank you.
Can you repeat what the second question was?
So the second question was, how do I ensure that it's not misaligned with my organization? Then second, what are the opportunities that I can leverage on? So she said writing, content, all of those. What other opportunities can I leverage on as an individual to build my brand?
Okay. So the first thing, I don't know whether this will be controversial, but if your organization is selling something, obviously you can now don't go and sell the same thing and be pocketing the money. That's a clear conflict of interest, right? So I know that a lot of people do private practice and things like that. It's wrong. so don't do that. I think that's the first conflict of interest. The second thing, but especially if you are, so for example, I can hear murmuring. Okay. I can hear murmuring. But
Okay, please write your questions down, and we will take the question at the end.
The reason why we can ask questions, it's...
No, but the truth about it is, imagine one day you will become an employer. You will own your own law firm. And then your staff will come and be taking your clients and collecting the money. This thing goes round and round. So, okay.
I think that is a round of applause.
It goes round and round. You may not agree with it right now because it might be benefiting you. Tomorrow, the shoe will be on the other foot. And then you remember Gloria Dozian. Anyway, so that's the first thing. The second conflict of interest, I think it's also great to be transparent. So there are a lot of organizations now that are forward-thinking, and they have practices where you come and declare your side hustle. There are organizations like that. And if you're a HR person in a law firm, maybe that's something a practice you want to start. I know a lot of banks that do that because now they are realizing that with this generation Z and millennials that we have, people are no longer single career focus driven. People want to be able to sell bags and shoes and still be lawyers, you know? So a lot of organizations are realizing that. So that's a policy that you can introduce in your company if you have the power to do so. So that helps to avoid conflict of interest. If you are happy about where you work, like he said, you can promote your company. That is also helpful. But what I think is very important here, he said if you're not happy, you can quit. Before we start another round of murmuring.
If you're not happy, you can improve as well.
Before we start another round of murmuring. But I think what I wanted to say was, I know a lot of people, career professionals, who have been hired for top jobs just because they were sharing value on social media. I know somebody who became the head of HR for a particular company because she was sharing consistently great tips on recruitment, CVs, and things like that. And that's not just, I don't know just one person. I know a lot of people. Even for me, that I'm not even a career person any longer, I get people approach me, are you interested in this? Are you interested in that? Are you interested in this? So I really think that sharing value is great. But how do you share value? I think it's about sharing your expertise, giving tips, sharing stories. So something, I think it was Bisola that mentioned storytelling for selling. I think that's so interesting. I would encourage everybody to register for that. Stories are one of the best ways for selling without selling. You know, when you show people, so you know, if you're telling a story about, for example, your worst day at work, maybe you lost a client and then how you got that client back and all of that. That shows your skills in so many areas. It shows your business development skills. It shows your stakeholder management skills. So sharing stories is a great way. Videos is also another great way. Now I find that especially if you're a woman, a lot of times people think that when you're doing videos, you have to be all hair on flick. You have to have your makeup and everything. What I realize is that people are, yeah, looking nice is important, but your content is what matters the most. So less of the eyebrows on flick and things, and more about content. So if you have good content, don't be afraid about what you look like and how people are going to judge you. Just talk about your expertise, and the people that need what you have will find you. So I think those are the two things, storytelling and videos.
Thank you very much, Glory. Okay.
So I think we're putting too much focus on online, and we're not looking at the offline side of things. So as lawyers especially, a lot of the clients you're going to meet are going to be offline. You meet them at events, you know, you meet them at speaking engagements, you meet them at conferences, you know, dinners, those kind of things. So those are avenues you also need to look into. So you need to speak. It's very, very important. Speak to anybody that will listen to what you have to say. When I started out, I used to go to every and any speaking engagement. So just invite me, I'll come. You don't need to pay me anything. You understand? So, that's how it starts. So you speak, the more you attend those events, you know, go to dinners, attend networking events, you know, organize events yourself. Busola organized this event, and look at, we are all here. And from all these people that have come here, you know, she's going to, you know, get a lot of clients, customers, and all that. So you can also do the same. So offline is very, very powerful. So as much as we put so much emphasis on the online thing, social media and all that, you cannot take away that offline aspect of things. It's very, very important. At the end of the day, people are going to see you, even if you hide under the rock, people are going to meet you at the supermarket one day, and they will see you. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I still have a lot of questions, but we've run out of time for this panel because we want to give you some time to ask your questions as well. But I hope that it has been insightful. I hope that we have learned easy tips for creating value and engaging for more. I hope that we remember that they gave us a matrix. You need to be known, you need to know what you do, and you need to be trusted. I think with just that, you would do a lot more than you already do. Thank you very much to our panelists. And please put your hands together.
Okay. At this juncture, we'll like to ask if you have a question, a lady and a gentleman. Gentleman spotted. Lady. Okay. So we have two questions already. For those of us that won't have the opportunity to ask directly, can we write down and then it goes through a vetting process? And then, ma'am, because of that, you may not be able to sit there. Yes, please. Please, gentlemen, you can start making your way down to. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. My name is Bumi Ibrahim. I'm the managing partner of Swift and More. I am also the chairman of the Law Firm Management Committee of the section on legal practice. I am here today representing the chairperson of SLP, Mr. Shenwa Bimbola. My question is really a comment, and it's to all the young lawyers, students, whether at law school or at university. And it's this. I find that the young people don't really seem to understand the power and the value that they can create. I am 30 years at the bar. I'm just like you. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook. I'm barely on LinkedIn. But if I have a junior that is conversant with all those areas and comes to me and says, Mrs. Ibrahim, I have this marketing plan for the firm for this year. We can do this. I will gladly say, run with it. And yet we have a room full of lawyers who have those skills. They are on Linda Ikeji, they're on Bella Ninja, and you are not using it to make money for your firms. And then you will come and complain at our conferences that senior lawyers are horrible to junior lawyers, they don't pay them and so forth. Yet you have this thing in your hand that you can use to create value that your partners and your senior lawyers will really appreciate. So my hope is that after today, you go back to wherever you are, whether you're in school, whether you're working, you're a sole practitioner, or whether you're working in an established law firm. You go back and you tell them, I have these skills. I can use them to bring this firm visibility.
Yes. There's a round of applause for Mrs. Ibrahim. Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, your question.
Okay, my name is Salvador Ajibola. My question is regarding to the last speaker, talking about PP, private practice, which is...
Before you go further, you realize that she's not a lawyer. So don't come and crucify. Just,
no, I'm not crucifying. I just want to ask.
Just realize that she's not a lawyer. All right, go ahead.
All right, thank you. So I bear that in mind, and it's a norm among young lawyers and in our practice. However, my question is, law firms have certain structures, in terms of billings and in terms of, clients they get in. So a scenario whereby you want to get a client, want to incorporate a company, and the firm already has its own threshold of what they bill, but the client you want to bring in cannot afford, maybe it's a family member, cannot afford to pay such amount of money. What do you do as a lawyer? Do you do that? Do you incorporate it personally, or you just allow the client go?
Thank you, Salvador.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. She does want to answer your question
All
as
right.
a lawyer.
Okay. So I guess the test is, so like he rightly said, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what conventions and what protocols that you work with. But I think the acid test for me is, if your boss asked you a question about that client, can you tell him fully that, oh, I registered the company for them? If you can, then go ahead. But if you are going to feel bad about this, if you are going to feel ashamed, if you are likely to lose your job,
If you're going to hide to do
if you are going to hide to do it, then perhaps there's an issue that you need to look into. So again, I'm going to say I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what conventions and practices you work with. But if you have to hide something, then you're probably doing the wrong thing.
All right.
That's my
Ma'am?
opinion.
So let me quickly add. She has said she's not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer too. But I think, and you lawyers are the ones that know things about non-disclosure, confidentiality, all those things.
Thank you, madam.
Companies that you have to disclose. If you have a boss It's about talking to your boss and saying, look, this and this. Before I started Brand Fusion fully, what I do in my daytime job is not the same thing as marketing and branding. But I still went to say, look, I have this passion. It's in me. And I've suddenly discovered this thing called Instagram that has potential to make me extra money. It's the truth. And I had that discussion and they said, okay, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be teaching SMEs, branding and marketing. I want them to do. And we went through it and they said, you know what? Go ahead. So I'm not doing anything hiding because I disclosed ab initio, as the lawyers will say.
Madam, you are a lawyer.
Okay.
So it's about disclosing upfront. So now I'm not afraid that anybody will see me somewhere talking about branding and marketing because they know. And this thing she said, the madam that spoke,
Mrs.
the
O'Brien.
potentials are endless. I'm telling you, I've gotten, if I tell you how much I make by the side, all from Instagram, from people I've never met in my life.
Okay.
I have clients that are paying me from all over the world, and you can do the same. So please do it. And like she said, even if you can't branch out on your own, she said if somebody comes to her as a lawyer, she will allow you. And by doing that for your business, for your organization, you're also building your own personal brand.
Thank you very much,
Yeah,
ma'am.
thank you.
Okay.
Hear me?
Now I will speak as a lawyer. And to be honest, I represent a body of young lawyers, and I understand some of the challenges that come with people making a choice of whether or not to do private practice. And I would not go to the nitty-gritty, but I would say, why don't we see this slightly differently? Many times as young lawyers, when we are engaging our firms, we're engaging our firms from a constant perspective of what can they do for me? What am I going to get in this position? And maybe it's the conditioning that we have been accustomed to, so both from the environment and the young lawyer, but we can change that narrative. And I think the way we can change that narrative is if we see ourselves as assets. When something is seen as an asset, that asset can give value and that asset can make demands. Now, as a young lawyer, if you have created value, let me tell a story, and it's someone very close to me. He joined the law firm. He wasn't getting such great pay, but he decided to plug into an area of law that they were not really experts in at the time. And he became the person that they were going to ask, what's going on here? And guess what? He would go to conferences and say, oh, my law firm is in IP. My law firm is in... They didn't have a great IP track at the time. But because he said it, and he had some personal vibe that was attractive, he got contracts in. As I speak to you, he's not 8 years at the bar. He has brought in at least 15 million for his law firm.
And he has collected commission.
And now he was promoted. He was promoted ahead of his own track. So people who were like 3 years ahead of him, he was made a senior associate along with them. Did he get value personally? Let's flip the script. If he did it as PP, did those agreements on his own, reviewed them, you never know. It may not have brought him that much value. Let's break it down. He's earning more pay. He's now the, de facto head of the non-existent IP expert field in the firm. Nobody does anything in that space without him involved. So guess what? He's gone on trainings for that. He's got speaking engagements for that. And he has been promoted ahead. His career has been fast-tracked. All of that would not have come if he did PP. Bring the value in. Negotiate with your bosses. I'm bringing this. I want something. Be transparent. Glory said it from the beginning. The truth is, we are foot soldiers of our law firms. We are the hands and the legs of our law firms. The world is getting very competitive. In a few years, if we continue with this mindset, internationally, we will not have a Nigerian legal service community. We need to collaborate. And the first step for collaboration is with our employers. And I hope that answers the question.
Yemi, before you drop the mic, because I know you personally, you're with Templars, right?
Yeah.
Does Templars know that you're coming to do this?
Oh, yes, they do.
Do they give you the permission to do this?
I tell them every time I have to do this.
I know Yemi has had to go to Abuja many times on speaking engagements and all. In fact, I saw your post on Instagram where she was debating with top women at Wimby's, right? Yeah. At Wimby's, talking because, as she said, she has brought the asset that she has to fore. And because that asset is seen and appreciated by Templars, Templars cannot sack you.
Actually, yes.
It's the truth. I have my thoughts, but because there's a senior lawyer here and she's introduced herself in all of those ramifications and capacities. Oh, you have an opinion, sir. Just 1 minute. I just like her to speak to it briefly because I know that this is a pressing concern. See, because of what I do, I MC events, and like you, I market my business on Instagram, and I get paid good money for MCing events. I had to pull out of a regular 9 to 5, where, as of 2015, I was collecting my salary in 5 hours. I was collecting it on a Saturday when I just go and stand before people. And yes, I collect, when I go to last weekend, I was MC at Mr. Peters. Okay, he's not an SCN. There were several SCNs and several judges present. And they saw this young boy standing, holding the microphone, moderating. And that is value you are preaching forward. Mrs. Ibrahim had said something about it. The reason I pulled out is because it was conflicting. Even if you don't have conscience, which I doubt, it is conflicting. And as Yemi has said, we will not have a legal community. We will not have, you should go abroad and see how their law practices. You will be, sorry, Mrs. PP, no they pay. Simple. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we come to the end. Guys, I know this is a very hot topic. I am apologizing. I can't take any more questions or any more comments or anything. I know. Comments, questions, no. I apologize. No, the reason... Something?
Yes. Okay, so I know that the circumstances may not always fit this box. That is the truth, and but it's a mindset change that is being discussed here. It's not about, sometimes your firm will say no. Sometimes they'll say it's too small, they can't do it. But that's not the issue here. Let's not flog the small thing. The big issue is that we should revalue ourselves as assets to our law firms. Once you are positioned in a legal organization, anything, a business, see yourself as an asset and question how you can deliver value. If it's not working, change your garb. That's what it means, reposition again. But don't work in conflict. Can two work together unless they agree? No. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think this is a good part to clap for our panelists. This gist is not sweet, but let's clap for them. And then we're going to take group photographs at this point. Busola, Glory, thank you. Please, what's your Instagram handle? Brand Fusion. Yemi Emmanuel. Emmanuel is spelled with I, sir. Kayode Abbas. Inspired by Glory. SLB.
How many of us are on LinkedIn here? Please, we should connect with them. Kayode. Let's connect with them. Inspired by Glory does a very good job. I've attended one of our events, 9 to 5 Chick. So you would, okay, so there's somebody corroborating it. So she does a very fantastic job in that space. And if you're having challenges with, engaging with people, networking and all of that, she's your go-to person. And Mr. Abbas, Thank you for honoring our invitation this year. You're supposed to be on our panel last year, and unfortunately you couldn't come. But this year he said he's going to do everything possible to come, and he's here. He does a very fantastic job. He has about, I think, 67,000 followers the last time I checked. 68, great. He does a very fantastic job on LinkedIn. You should follow him. And my sister here, Oyemi, over 50 articles, Business Day. So I'm sure she's gone in for Forbes. So she does a very, very good job. On Instagram, you can go to the Business Day, whatever, website to read a lot of our articles, and they are powerful articles. And for every young lawyer, I think we should connect with the Young Lawyers Forum of NBA SBL. It's very, very important to connect with it. Not just the, SBL general, but the Young Lawyers Forum. And she's doing a very fantastic job in that regard. Thank you so much. And so thank you so much. Thank you, Mrs. Achinuke Babatunde. Thank you very, very much. It's interesting that I'm meeting some of them for the first time here. But then ability to engage and network is what has brought them here. So we want to appreciate you for coming. Thank you for honoring our invitation. We hope that we would be able to have you more and more when we reach out to you. Thank you so much. And I also want to believe that for every of our participants that follow you, you'll be able to also give them some sort of value whenever they reach out to you. Thank you so much. So we'll be having our little presentation. Thank you so much for being here and for being a valuable contributor and panelist to the Business of Law Conference. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. It's good to finally meet you in person. Thank you for being a valuable contributor and panelist to this conference. We appreciate you. We appreciate your effort. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. We appreciate you. We appreciate your contribution. And thank you for doing a powerful job at moderating this event. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate your contribution. And thank you for what you do on the online community, for we people looking on how to brand ourselves professionally. Thank you so much.
Okay, can we now come together to take a group photograph? Where's the photographer? You want to hold your... Oh, that's another networking strategy. Who said it? I know it's networking. So that when you get to 10 plus, they will know that Busola, you don't do anything. I'm joking. That's the cameraman. Thank you. Please, a round of applause for the panelists once again.